great to have you join me as I unpack what we're calling Conversations Over Coffee. These are regular short devotions that I'll be sharing in a really relaxed, low-key environment where I just want to have a conversation with you and maybe challenge you, maybe bring some thought-provoking things to your attention around issues of leadership, around issues of faith, around issues of life. And so Conversations Over Coffee are just a time where we can get together and maybe go deeper and maybe learn from one another. So please subscribe to our Conversations Over Coffee on YouTube or connect with us on Instagram or Facebook. And we would love to have you join this regular tribe of Conversations Over Coffee group. Here's our next one. Hope you enjoy this thought that I share as we continue the journey on Conversations Over Coffee. I preached a message just recently around the whole concept of that we're creatures of habit. And sometimes that's a good thing and sometimes not necessarily a good thing. And I guess what I wanted to do in this devotion today is just maybe pose a couple of questions for you to get you to start to wonder and maybe go to God on what does it mean for you to be someone that's really open to the newness and the freshness of God. I want to start by reading out of the Gospel of Luke. On Luke chapter 5, I'm going to read from verse 36. Jesus says this, he's teaching his disciples, he's teaching people who are listening around the fact that he's coming to bring a new work. He's coming to bring something new and something fresh. And he says, then Jesus gave them this illustration. No one tears a piece of cloth from a new garment and uses it to patch an old garment. For then the new garment would be ruined and the new patch wouldn't even match the old garment. And no one puts new wine into old wineskins, for the new wine would burst the wineskins, spilling the wine and ruining the skins. New wine must be stored in new wineskins. But no one who drinks the old wine seems to want the new wine. The old wine is just fine, they say. I think what Jesus is saying there is he wants to bring something new, but for him to pour new wine, for him to bring something new into our lives, we need to be positioned to receive something new and not stay in our old ways. You know, Paul wrote to the church at Ephesus and he said this in Ephesians chapter 3 and verse 20. Now to him, to God, who is able to do immeasurably more than all we could ask or imagine according to his power that's at work in us. Paul's saying God can do immeasurably more than we could even hope or imagine. I wonder how much of God you're truly experiencing right now. I wonder how much of God I'm truly experiencing right now. I wonder whether we're so much creatures of habit that we've, not even meaning to, we've put him in a box. We've sort of said, well, this is the way God is. This is the way God works. This is the way God is to me. This is the way he speaks to me. This is the way he moves in my life. This is the way he blesses me. This is the way he prompts me. And therefore, we take that a step further as creatures of habit. And we say, and this is the way that I worship. And this is the way that I do my Christian walk. And this is the way that I live my life. And we segregate and we put it in a box. My challenge today, thinking about that passage of God wanting to pour new wine, a new part of who he is into our lives. And they're asking the question, are we prepared to be new wineskins? Are we prepared to be able to receive him in a new way? What would it look like for you and I moving forward to be open to experiencing a newness and a freshness from God? What if we're only experiencing 10 or 15% of the fullness of God? If this is my coffee, there you go, Conversations Over Coffee. And let's say the glass is the fullness of God. And I think this is probably far more than I'm experiencing, but let's say I'm experiencing that much of the full glass of God. Am I going to do that for the rest of my life? Or am I going to be prepared to actually experience the rest of that glass, the rest of that cup, the rest of what God has to pour out into me? In this new day, in this new year, what would it look like for you to be open to worship a little differently, to pray a little differently, to read the word of God expecting something different, to get up in the morning expecting God to speak to us, to move in us, to move through us in a different way, in a new way, in a fresh way, because our God is so much greater than we could even understand. I'd love for you to communicate with me and share with me maybe some ways that you're going to intentionally seek to experience more of the fullness of God in the next few days or weeks. Or maybe you've got a question that you want to throw out to me. And just after this video, there'll be a few ways where you can contact me on social media. Please subscribe to this YouTube if you want to hear more of this. But I would love to be in conversation and hear what you think about what I'm saying. You might say, Murray, I think you've got it wrong. I think I really understand the fullness of God and I'm experiencing the fullness of God. And I'd love to hear about that. Let's have a conversation. Let's communicate further. Let's continue the conversation over coffee. Connect with me on Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube. It's going to follow on a slide after this video. But I trust you will start to open your eyes even more fully to the question, what would it look like for you to be a new wineskin, to experience the new wine that God has for you? God bless you.